The polls have closed in the federal election in most of the country. Counting has begun. One exit poll has pointed to a win for Labour by 52% to 48%. Two others have the ALP ahead by just 51 to 49. And any swing against the government in key marginals could be decisive. Either way, it looks like it will be a night to remember for the leaders of both major parties.
Living up to his competitive reputation, Tony Abbott was the first major leader to cast a vote, arriving at his local surfing club with his family.
I have manfully resisted getting into my Speedos. Don't tempt me now, mate, all right?
After weeks of selling the sausage, the sizzle and everything in between, his next stop was in the key battleground seat of Bennelong. It was famously lost by the Coalition's last sitting Prime Minister, but support for the party has been regenerating.
Yes, he can! Yes, he can! Yes, he can!
Following the deaths of 2 Australian soldiers in Afghanistan, Julia Gillard resumed her campaign by voting in her Victorian electorate of Laylaw.
Gillard. Now, if you don't find me on that roll, that's going to be a big problem.
An extensive Nielsen poll has put Labor just ahead of the Coalition, 52 points to 48, while an updated news poll has them locked at 50-50. Earlier, Ms Gillard was in the Sydney electorate of Lindsay, one of many that Labor will need to retain to hold on to power.
This is going to be a very tight contest. We do hope that we have the opportunity to continue to serve the country.
And as with every election day, it was one of several seats accused of dirty tactics. Labor's helpers wearing blue T-shirts. Elsewhere, there were claims of Liberal workers handing out fake how-to-vote cards for the Greens. There was less confusion in the West Australian seat of Hasluck, which Labor holds by less than 1%. The Coalition is tipped to take it, but the locals don't seem to care either way.
Well, I think they're both the same, to tell you the truth.
It's a lot of crap.
Very messy. Very messy. Nothing positive we didn't think out of either one of them.
In Queensland, a more passionate response greeted voters in Kevin Rudd's electorate.
We're here representing these men who have lost their lives to this fool called Kevin Rudd.
The family of a victim from Labor's home insulation debacle adding to the drama of the day.
You can't look into this man's eyes or this man's eyes or our family's eyes and see what devastation he's done.
Mr Rudd voted in a nearby school instead, with Queensland holding various marginal seats like Dixon, Herbert and Dawson that could decide the overall outcome. The Greens, meanwhile, were given a warm reception in Hobart's Salamanca Place.
Yeah, well, Salamanca, you know, is a very politically enlightened precinct.
The party is expected to hold the balance of power in the Senate and possibly secure their first lower house seat in a federal election. With stakes this high, members of the major parties, both past and present, are refusing to call it.
We all know that this is going to be really, really, really close.
We're now in the last 2 minutes and the game could go either way.
As for the smaller parties...
I mean, I know redheads are popular and, you know, Abbott, well, he's a very fit and healthy man.
So after 5 weeks of kissing babies, town hall meetings, policies, promises and dead heat polling, it's all come down to this. The campaign may have been called boring, but tonight's count and the result that follows is tipped to be anything but. Manny Tsigas, World News Australia.